Hey there, are you ready for our next riveting experience? Well, buckle up. The fun and excitement is about to begin.
Okay, we're out on Lake Sammamish. We're going to be fishing for some trouts today, cutthroats mostly, and or whatever else bites. We'll see. But it's cold out. It's about 28 degrees. Very calm day so far, which is nice.
Okay, it's at this point that I go on to explain that on calm, cold days like this, you shouldn't become complacent. If your temperatures, the air temperature and water temperature combined, add up to less than 120 degrees, you should definitely be wearing a dry suit or at least a wetsuit. And of course, you always want to wear your personal flotation device, PFD. Okay, let's get on to the fishing part. So after about an hour of trolling, I wasn't catching anything and I wasn't seeing anything suspended. The only thing I was seeing was some bumps on the bottom of the lake, and typically the lake is pretty flat on the bottom. So I thought, well, those are likely fish. Why don't I put a drop shot on, see what I can catch down there, and let's give that a whirl.
Okay, well, I'm doing a little drop shotting here because there's something on the bottom. I don't know what the hell it is, but oh well, now we know. Perch, a lot of them down there. Good sized ones too, look at that. So let's just look at the graph here. So this is actually where the bottom of the lake is, and all of this stuff in here is fish. I have a pretty good idea that I could just pull these up all day long.
So I'm looking at these fish pretty closely when I release them because their swim bladders are sticking out their throat when I toss them back in, but they don't seem to be any worse for the wear. They swim right back down, which just baffles me that they're able to pull that little trick out, but they seem to be okay. Now, that may have led me to decide to keep some of these. I don't know, but I did decide to keep some of them. Let's take a second here to tell you how you could tell you had a bite. It was odd. These fish are like 50 feet down, and you didn't feel them like nibbling on it or biting on it. It was just a slightly heavier pressure on the end of the rod, and when you started to feel that your rod being pulled down, you just set the hook, and more often than not, there was a fish on it.
Another perch. Jesus, look at the size of that thing. You know what? I think I might keep these.
I think I was averaging a fish about every 5 or 6 minutes. And based on what I was seeing on the graph, I thought that was a little odd that it took me that long to catch a fish. But it was pretty consistent most of the day. I was catching fish about every 5, 6 minutes. And most of them are these big ones.
Let's take a look at this graph again. So this is the bottom of the lake, and that's all fish. Perch. Good sized ones too, by the results so far. And I'm using a drop shot to catch them, and it's not really all that challenging, to be honest with you. But I'm taking some home. I'm gonna eat them. This lake has got way too many perch in it, so. Oh yeah, got another one. Those are pretty good sized perch, particularly for Lake Sammamish. Okay, so our water temps are at almost 49 degrees, and fish I've been catching have been right around 45 feet. That one's probably the smallest of the ones I caught, but I'm still keeping them. They're coming up from so far down that their stomachs are in their throats. When I run out of room on my stringer, I will go home. All right, now I'm in almost 50 feet. Oops, there's a fish. I was gonna say, I think I need to go into more shallow water, but nope. There he is. And I'm not seeing all that many fish down there on the graph, but I'm getting strikes pretty consistently, and these aren't small fish. I mean, that is a pretty good sized perch for Lake Sammamish. Wow. I'm glad I started keeping these. This lake has so many perch in it. It's really hard to fathom just exactly how many perch are in here. All right, so just so you guys can see what my setup is, this is actually I got an outdoor emporium. It's a plastic worm that's designed for catching trout, but the perch seem to love it. Again, I put a little Procure on there, and what I'm using is bait fish formula. They all smell pretty good, so just a little bit on there, just to give it some stinkum. And I honestly don't think that that's all that necessary. But
okay, so I never even felt this fish. I just started reeling it in to check my bait to see if it was tangled, and I had a fish on there. So yeah. And this is also at the point where I got sick of dealing with the GoPro. So the rest of it here is just going to be voiceover for me. So enjoy that. Yeah, not all the ones I caught were keepers. Look at that one. He's a little one. He's going back in. Yeah, that one there, that one's a keeper. Yeah, a quick moment of excitement here. Caught another fish, but alas, he's a borderline keeper. Ultimately, I tossed him back in the drink. Great videography there, Pat. You blinded everybody yet? So this fish, as I'm reviewing the footage here, doesn't look any bigger than the last one. I guess maybe it is just a little bigger. At any rate, he ends up going back on the stringer. So maybe it's because he was hooked a little more vigorously than the other one. I don't know, but yeah, he's going on the stringer. I know you guys are all rooting pretty hard for this kayak to rotate around so that sunspot isn't blasting you right in the eyeballs. You know, that's the kind of stuff that you don't see or think about when you're filming until you start doing the editing and going, yeah, that's pretty bad. Kills the color, you know, obviously kills the image, getting spots on the screen. I'll have to give that more thought in the future. And this is a keeper, so he's going on a stringer as well. You guessed it, number 10. That one's going on the stringer as well, although he's borderline. But yeah, I was getting to the point here where I thought, well, maybe if I get 12, we'll go home for sure. But I was having so much fun catching these fish. I just couldn't stop. Yep, here's number 11. I'm really impressed. I've not had a day like this out on the lake, even with perch, to be able to catch that many in that short a time. It was really quite enjoyable day on the lake. It was a bit cold, of course, but really quite enjoyable to catch that many fish on the lake. Okay, so this fish right here is the smallest fish I caught all day. And he suffered from the same issues the other ones did, where his swim bladder was popping out his mouth, and he wasn't mature enough to deal with it. So he ended up floating on the water, and you'll notice, yeah, somebody else took notice of him right away too. You'll see here in a second. Uh-huh. That seagull's going to get that fish. And he waited for me to pedal away from the fish so he could come get it. And there he goes. Boop, and he got him. And it was shortly after this that I was surrounded by seagulls. And I caught a bunch of other small fish. For some reason, the big fish at this point just stopped hitting. So I decided to pack it in for the day. So as I'm paddling in for the day, let me just share a couple things with you. So in hindsight, those fish that I was seeing on the graph, that huge massive of whatever they were down there, they could be bait fish, they could have been carp, they could have been peamouth chubs for all I know. One of the things that I noticed was whether or not I saw that big jumble of biomass underneath my boat had very little effect on whether I was catching perch or not. So I would be there and I wouldn't see anything on the graph, and I'd still be catching perch, almost at the same rate as if all that stuff that was on the graph was there. So I don't know if those were perch or not. So they could have been bait fish, I'm not sure. But whatever they were, it didn't seem to affect the perch bite. In fact, I pedaled around quite a bit in that general area. And if you were trying to figure out where I was right at the south end of the lake. All over in the south end of the lake, in about 50 feet of water, and I was catching perch pretty much everywhere I went. So there wasn't, I don't think that it was specific to that area. You'll probably find them just about anywhere in that lake. They're just all over in there. And perch, I think, my personal opinion is they're the best tasting fish in that lake, which is ironic because they're the most populous too. So if you want something fun to catch and something that tastes good, I highly recommend you go out there and just start doing a little drop shotting for perch in 50 feet of water, particularly around this time of year, and you'll find them. I've also seen big schools of them like in August. Starting in August, you start to see big schools of them out there. And if you can find a school of them, you can just pull up fish one right after another. So anyway, I highly recommend that you try perch fishing out there in Lake Sammamish, and they are an invasive species technically, so eat up. They're a great time. All right, well, thanks for watching. If you got this far, hey, how about a like? And if you haven't subscribed, you can hear all about the videos that I'm releasing. Go ahead, please subscribe. I only need about 102 more subscribers before I can become a YouTube partner. So please subscribe, like, share, all that yummy good stuff. Once again, I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by the channel and all that good stuff.